Hello everybody from Plant Reviews. Today the 1st of March, so still winter, but just 3 weeks left to the start of spring. And today I'll talk about one of the most fragrant and beautiful plants you can get in the garden, and this one is Daphne Odora, Aureomarginata. Daphne Odora is a species, is the family Timaleaceae, to which several species belong of Daphne, and also another very beautiful and fragrant plant that bloom in winter, the Ageworthia. However, Ageworthia is a little bit less fragrant in my opinion in comparison to Daphne Odora. So for fragrance, definitely Daphne Odora wins the competition in the Timaleaceae, in my opinion, at least of all the Daphnes, and in comparison to Ageworthia. This species comes from Asia, and in particular from China, and later spread to Japan and Korea. This plant is an evergreen shrub, and it is grown mainly for its very fragrant flowers that, as you can see, are quite fleshy, that are pale pink when they are open, but when they are in bud they are actually bright pink, as you can see here. One second, as usual I have sometimes problem in focusing. You can see the beautiful bright pink buds that then open in this wonderful pale pink flower. They are grouped in clusters. They are quite small, I would say probably about centimeters in diameter, and they have 4 lobes. The flowers are actually quite tubular, as you can see here, the profile of the flower. This is a plant that is widely cultivated in horticulture, and it is cultivated not only for its beautiful and fragrant flower, but also for the glossy foliage. You can see how shiny the leaves are. It is a plant that actually tends to be a little bit leggy. Doesn't have it is not really a very thick bush, and this habit actually is shared with one of the other Timaleaceae species, that is the Ageworthia indeed. The plant grows best in fertile and slightly acid soil that is ideally peaty, and also needs to be well drained. It grows about 1.5 meters tall and wide, and the ideal exposure is in full sun or partial shade, and it is hardy down to minus 10 degrees centigrade, that is about 14 degrees Fahrenheit. The plant Daphne Odora, the name of the species Odora means fragrant, and actually in Korea the plant is called I'm sorry for the pronunciation, because probably I will pronounce it wrong, Churihyang, that means 1,000-mile scent for its fragrance. Okay, I never smelled this plant from 1,000 miles, but I have to say that when the plant is quite big, I remember at the University of Birmingham, I was walking around the university, and at some point in, it was late February I believe, I was caught by this beautiful citrusy perfume, and there was this big shrub of Daphne Odora, Aureomarginata, just a couple of meters far from me. So you can definitely smell the plant a couple of meters far from the plant. This, in my opinion, is one of the most fragrant plants blooming in winter. I would say probably second only to Sarcococca confusa, that in my opinion is the most fragrant winter plant I have, winter blooming plant I have. The scent of the Daphne Odora, however, to my nose is more appealing, because while the Sarcococca confusa is very sweet, it's still very pleasant. The Daphne Odora has a citrusy note to it that adds, at least to my nose, some appeal. I love citrusy fragrance. And also the flowers are very elegant, this bright pink buds, and opening up with these in this pale pink as well. About the peculiarities of the species, this plant, like all Daphnes, it is poisonous, and every part is poisonous of this plant, including the berries. So this needs to be taken into account. If you have kids or pets, please monitor them that they don't end up eating any part of this plant. And also some people might experience dermatitis if they are in contact with the sap of the plant, for example while pruning or cutting, even if really, in my opinion, this plant is not a plant that really needs any pruning. It is quite slow growing anyway. About the longevity of the plant, unfortunately the Daphne Odora is not usually long-lived, tends to live about 8 to 10 years. Daphne also have a very delicate root system, so really don't like to be transplanted. So if you are unsure where to plant it in the garden, do like I did, plant it in a pot so you can move it around. For example, you can bring it in some areas of your garden, ideally near a door when it's in flower, in a sheltered area, so you can appreciate better the beautiful perfume, the beautiful fragrance, and also you protect the plants from strong winds, because it is has quite delicate branches in comparison to other plants, and also due to the fact that it's not really a thick shrub, the branches tend to be quite delicate in my opinion. The plant can be propagated by semi-ripe cuttings in summer. However, it is quite difficult to propagate. This plant very rarely produces berries, so it is not easy to propagate from seed. There are different cultivars in the market, and all of them anyway need the typical Daphne Care, so moist, well-drained soil and partial shade to full sun. In addition to the beautiful flowers, the Daphne Odora is in the variety Aureomarginata, that is this one indeed, is probably the most popular of all Daphne's Odora. The Aureomarginata is so called because in Latin Aureomarginata means with golden margins, and you can see on these leaves that the edge of the leaf indeed is yellow golden, that contrasts, I have to say, not very much against the color of the leaf, that is lime green. This plant last year I had it in partial shade, now is in full sun, and in partial shade the leaves were much darker, like a dark green, and the margins, the yellow margins, were a lot more contrasting against the leaf. This plant, now growing in full sun, evidently changed the color of the leaf, and it is a lot lighter than used to be. However, the plant evidently likes this exposure, because the blooms and the buds it has this year, it is just incredible. When the plant is this small, you can still smell the beautiful fragrance about a meter far from the plant, but obviously the bigger the plant, the more intense is the fragrance. Definitely a Sarcococca confusa this size, you can smell it already from 4 or 5 meters far from the plant. Daphne Odora Aureomarginata, in addition, is probably the most the hardiest of all Daphne odoras available on the market. And the plant blooms in winter, so usually between late January and March in the UK. Obviously the blooming season can vary according to the climate you are in, and I'll show you this pot. So this is the Daphne Aureomarginata. I bought it actually just after buying my house, so would have been in March will be 4 years ago. So this plant is 4 years, and when I bought it was about it was probably 40 to 50 centimeters tall. Now is almost a meter, so really it grows very slowly, but obviously to me it doesn't matter much, and actually considering that I have it in a pot is better that it doesn't grow a lot. And what is most important to me is the beautiful amount of flowers and the very fragrant perfume that spread around around the plant. As I said, this plant is best kept in a shelter spot to protect it against winds, and again, obviously, because in a shelter spot there's not much wind, so the perfume spreading from the plant can be better smelled around the plant. And if you put it near a door or near the close to the entrance of your house, obviously when you go out and in, you can smell the beautiful fragrance of this plant. So I hope not to have forgotten anything in this video. As usual, if you would like to have any more information, just write comments down below, and I will be happy to reply to you as soon as possible. It is a plant that is very easy to find. You can find both online and in garden centers. I never found this plant available in supermarkets, but definitely I would say that every garden center I entered in the UK has at least this variety that is very common, and often a few more varieties of Daphne Odora or other species of Daphne as well. As usual, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this video, it would be great if you give a thumbs up, and obviously if you like this video and you like my channel, it would be great if you can please subscribe, and in this way you help me to get reviewed by YouTube, and obviously to become a YouTube partner. So in this way YouTube can support me to make more videos and to let me grow my channel as well. Thank you very much for watching, and also thank you very much to all my subscribers, because I passed the 400 subscribers. It's still a long way to go to the minimum of 1000 to be considered as a YouTube partner my YouTube, but hopefully in a while I will be able to reach this number. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.